Did you choose to watch this? Or was that choice already made for you? Pause. Let that question settle in your mind. Every day, we navigate life under the comforting illusion that we are making choices, big and small. What to eat, where to go, who to love. But what if the sense of agency you hold so dearly is an echo, not a cause? Science whispers a disturbing truth. Brain scans reveal that decisions form in the subconscious before we become aware of them. In other words, by the time you think you've chosen, your brain already has. Like a puppet following invisible strings, we walk paths we never laid, chasing dreams we never authored. But this isn't just science, it's a philosophical bombshell. Because if you are not the author of your thoughts, your actions, your desires, then who is? What if the you making choices is simply a storyteller, narrating events already in motion? Welcome to the unraveling. Long before neuroscience, long before quantum mechanics, the ancients gazed into the abyss and asked, are we free or are we fated? In the mythologies of Greece, the Moirai, those silent, unyielding sisters, wove the threads of every mortal life. Even gods bowed to the loom of destiny. To defy fate was to defy the very fabric of reality. The Stoics believed the universe was guided by logos, a divine, rational order. To them, freedom wasn't the power to choose, but the wisdom to align with this cosmic rhythm, to surrender to the dance, not to resist it. In the East, ancient sages whispered of karma and samsara, a cycle of cause and effect spanning lifetimes. Your current moment and a ripple of choices made before you were born. Yet in that very determinism, they saw a secret door: liberation. Not by seizing control, but by awakening to the illusion. Again and again, humanity has stood before this question. And again, the answers have defied simplicity. Fast forward to the Enlightenment, the age of logic, light, and law. Newton gave us a universe of motion and matter, each gear spinning in divine precision. Laplace imagined a demon, an intellect so vast that, knowing every particle's position and velocity, it could predict the entire future. No chaos. No surprise, only inevitability. This was determinism in its purest form. Every blink, every breath, every heartbeat, inevitable. Freedom became a fantasy, and the soul, an outdated myth. Even psychology joined the chorus. Pavlov's dog salivated. At Bell's, Skinner's pigeons pecked for reward. Human behavior, they claimed, was not chosen, it was conditioned. Controlled by reinforcements and environments, by childhood trauma and chemical imbalances. Where in this sterile machine is the room for free will? Where is you? Then came the death blow, from within our own skulls. In the 1980s, Benjamin Libet conducted a now famous experiment. He wired brains and watched what happened when people made simple choices. What he found was shocking. Brain activity signaled a decision hundreds of milliseconds before the person became aware of choosing. Your brain decides, and only afterward do you feel like you did. Let that sink in. Consciousness might not be the commander, but the commentator. And if your thoughts arise unbidden, if your desires emerge unchosen, if even your will is the byproduct of blind processes, then what remains of agency? Who is this I that believes it's steering the ship? Perhaps there is no captain, only waves. But just as the chains tightened, a crack appeared. At the smallest scales of reality, Newton's laws crumble. Enter quantum mechanics, a world of unpredictability, duality, and strangeness. Particles exist in superpositions, not as fixed states. Measurement seems to collapse possibilities into actuality. Suddenly, determinism wavers. Does this mean we're free? That choice is real after all? Not so fast. Randomness isn't freedom. A dice roll isn't a decision. Indeterminism may break the chain of cause and effect, but it doesn't give you the reins. It replaces destiny with chaos, not autonomy. And yet, some whisper that consciousness plays a role here, that the observer alters the observed. That mind and matter are entangled in ways science still cannot explain. Could it be that freedom lies not in the breaking of laws, but in our participation in reality itself? In all this talk of particles and neurons, one mystery remains untouched: consciousness. What is this awareness that watches, that questions, that suffers and rejoices? Some say it is a mere byproduct, a spark from the brain's machinery. But others see it as the source, not the symptom. From the non-dual teachings of Advaita Vedanta to the sudden insights of Zen koans, ancient mystics declared the self is an illusion, the ego a mask. In this vision, you are not the thinker of thoughts, but the awareness in which thought appears. Not the doer of deeds, but the space in which events unfold. And if the self is a fiction, what need has fiction for freedom? Perhaps in realizing that we never were separate, we find a deeper liberation, one untouched by cause or choice. Here lies the paradox. The more you chase freedom, the more bound you become. Existentialists, like Sartre, declared that man is condemned to be free, that every moment is a burden of choice. Yet Buddhists teach that clinging to agency is itself suffering. What if freedom is not about control, but release? Consider the monk who renounces all choice and finds peace, or the prisoner stripped of liberty, who discovers a freedom deeper than the body. These stories defy logic, but resonate with truth. Perhaps freedom is not the ability to shape reality, but to stop resisting it, not the power to choose, but the wisdom to dissolve the chooser. So let's return to our first question. Did you choose this moment, or did it choose you? Strip away every thought, every desire, every memory. What remains? If free will is an illusion, if determinism reigns, then who are you? And in that void, where self and choice dissolve, is there not a strange kind of freedom? Not the freedom to act, but the freedom from acting, from effort, from identity, from the burden of being the doer. You are not the puppet nor the puppet master. You are the stage on which the dance plays out. And in that realization, there is peace. When you decided to press play, was it really a choice? Or was it the only thing you were ever going to do? Think carefully. Every moment, every decision you've ever made feels like yours. But what if that feeling is the most persistent illusion of all? Imagine standing at a fork in the road, paths stretching out before you. You believe you choose one freely, but what if every step was already written in the fabric of the cosmos? Your body a puppet, and your mind the story it tells itself to make sense of the strings. This is the paradox of choice, a sensation of freedom, yet a nagging suspicion of unseen forces, biology, upbringing, society, guiding your hand. What if the truth is stranger? What if choice is real, but not in the way you think? Before brain scans and algorithms, there were oracles and fate. The Stoics believed the universe was ruled by logos, divine reason, and that true freedom came not from resisting fate, but from aligning with it. In the East, the Bhagavad Gita taught of karma, destiny shaped not by whim, but by the weight of past actions. Even in Christian theology, Augustine wrestled with predestination. Were our lives mapped by divine will, or did God grant us the dignity of choice? And the Greeks. Aristotle envisioned a balance, a world where reason and ethics lived alongside cause and effect. Humanity, to him, was a creature of both nature and reason-bound, and yet somehow not. From ancient myths to metaphysical treatises, the question was never new, but always urgent. The idea that we are more than drifting leaves, or perhaps only that. Now enter science. Newton's laws once made the universe seem a perfect machine, every particle's path predictable, each future a consequence of a past. Then came neuroscience. In 2008, experiments showed brain activity predicting a decision seconds before a subject became conscious of it. You thought you chose, but your brain had already spoken. Laplace's demon haunted the Enlightenment, a being that, knowing the position of every atom, could see the entire past and future unfold. In this view, your sense of freedom is just complexity, a trick of perception in a vast causal web. Even genetics joins in. Are we but vessels of DNA, playing out scripts etched in our cells? Are we